on OITMA that are actually looking at the traffic situation in Oyo State. We have those ones in environmental that actually working to make sure that Ibadan is clean, because, like the governor actually said, the first step of development is when you have peace and security. And after that, you now look at infrastructure. If you don't have a good infrastructure in place, then people coming around, investors coming around, it will be very difficult to get the required investors to be able to give our youth employment. Definitely the state government cannot do it alone. We cannot employ everybody. We just have to work with the business communities, provide enabling environment for the business community to be able to employ our youth. And that is exactly what the government is doing, providing enabling environment so that at least Ibadan will be beautified, Oyo State will be beautified. Coming to Oyo State, you'll be happy that you are coming to a pay-setter state. And in addition to that, this is still part of the youth employment, data. Then we have the Agric, Oyo State Agric initiative, which is being driven, by ICT, using ICT. What we did was to get our youth together, visit all the various local governments, and make sure that these youths are engaged to be able to, Oyo State is an agrarian state. We have a very large landmass that can, we can cultivate whatever you want to do. We have cassava and some other things. So what we did was to get all these youth involved. And through the ICT, the deployment of our staffs and using the stakeholders around, we were able to utilize the ICT, medium to be able to get them registered and to monitor them, to monitor their progression, to monitor what they are doing, and to keep them out of unemployment. Now we have security, like I was saying. We have succeeded in getting the youth out of unemployment. So the next thing is to be able to see how we could now kind of reorientate, get those who are still very deep in security and reorientate them, give them orientation on how to make them a better citizen in Oyo State. And that is why you can see we have the CCTV to be able to monitor what is happening all over the state, so that when we have anyone that is going through or that is causing a lot of problems, we can, get them, reorientate them, put them online, and be able to, set them properly on a proper footing to be able to be useful to the society. Then we have part of the e-governor initiative is coming back to the civil servants, the civil service, where we know we have to interact with the citizen. Two, we have to interact with the business communities. And in order to automate the activities of the government so that the business community could be able to do, their businesses, their registrations with due process and some other things. And some other things with the government. We have some of our stakeholders engaged, like the Soft Alliance. We have the CHAMPS working on BIR, the Bureau of Internal Revenue Generation. Then we have the Soft Alliance that work on the biometric of our staff and some other things. Then we have other automations, like the land administration system. We have the collaboration, that is requisition by pay, budget, and treasury management solution, so that if you want to automate or if you want to make any request, it is being automated now. So you don't need to go through all those bottlenecks of carrying files here and there. So the governor can see what is going on, the commissioner can see what is going on, even yourself, you can see the level of your processes. This we have done with the Software Alliance. Then this is the budget performance, which we have done using the ICT. So what I'm saying is that the government in Oyo State is ready for us. We, the captains of industries, the room is open. The field is open. you are welcome to discuss with the Oyo State. Ibadan is friendly now. You are welcome to Ibadan. You can see all around. You can see the beauty things around here. So you can come here. You can see the peaceful environment. You can come here, and we are ready for you, especially in the area of connectivity. That is where we know we still have some challenges. So we want stakeholders to come around and partner with us because we cannot do it alone. This is a PPP arrangement. So we want you to come around. The door is open. We are there in the ICT, the MIC building, to welcome you and interact with you and see the area where you can assist the government to help us in our internal generator revenue. Like we have the Tech U there, we still need a lot of people to come and collaborate with the Tech University. We have a lot of opportunities for you. We have the free trade zone over there along Ibadan, Lagos Express Road. We have massive land there that we are ready to give out, in a better negotiation for you to come and set up your outfit to provide employment for our youth. MTN just did a training program for our youth recently. These are some of the things we need. And with this, we know our youth will get out of the employment, poverty will be eradicated, and the interaction between the government and the citizen, the government and the business environment will definitely be, as smooth as we want it. Thank you very much.
Many thanks, Mr. Kolawole, for the presentation, letting us know the efforts of Oyo State government. From the ED NIPS, and he's going to speak on blockchain, fintech, and financial inclusion. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Well, permit me to stand on existing protocols. I'm told I have just 10 minutes for about 27 slides I have there. But I think my comfort is that we're all going to have the presentation. So I'll just run through the slides and just give a summary. I'm unable to see all the slides. As I've been told, my name is Ni Ajao. I work with NIPS, Nigeria Interbank Settlement System, the company that clears your checks. We facilitate funds transfers between the banks. We are the one behind your BVN systems. We are the one handling a whole lot of things for the banking industry. And the company is owned by the banks. We provide our services to the banks. A very interesting arrangement there. They own us, and they are our primary customers. So I'm asked to talk on, okay, sorry, how do I move this? Good, okay. So these are the few things I want to just summarize within some 10 minutes that I have. In talking about inclusion, okay, there's a quotation there. I think the subject of inclusion has become a very important topic for all of us in the world. One analyst traced the whole thing to September 11. Studies have shown that the troubles we're having all around, insecurity and all that, and it's been said earlier here, is all because you have people out there who are not part of all these things you guys are doing. Computer, money is moving around, they see things shining around, they see fine cars around. Some people are envious of what is going on, and we all have a duty to bring everybody into the system. And I mean, I'm happy when I saw the picture, the topic of this conference today talking about inclusion. It's a challenge we all need to find a way to go through. And when we talk about inclusion, I'm looking at it in 3 different dimensions. We talk of digital inclusion. A lot has been said about digital inclusion. We need to find a way to get people into all this IT thing. Gone are the days that, maybe IT is just for those that went to school, or is only for those that study computer science and related subjects. We all know that today, and it was said earlier today, literacy in our time is about how digitally aware you are. So I'm looking at digital inclusion. I'm looking at economic inclusion, which is a very important issue. We have many people out there who want to be part of commerce. They want to be part of entrepreneurship. They want to be part of all this buying and selling. They are unable to take part. We need to solve that problem. And the third one is financial inclusion, which is an area that my office is working on seriously. Looking at digital inclusion, by the time you get this slide, you see the source of that material you're having there. Okay, that's the global. Just to save our time, let me show you what we have, what the studies there showed for Nigeria as of January 2017. Studies show that we have just 18 million. We had just 18 million email addresses in Nigeria as of January 2017. A population of close to 200 million people. And last census has showed that about half of our population consists of the youth. That's by 100 million. So only about 18 million email addresses in the system. That gives us an idea of the rate, the extent of the exclusion rate. Many people are not part of all of these things that we're talking about, and we need to find a way as practitioners, as service providers, to bring them into the system. Economic inclusion, I'm sure that photograph is a photograph we'll sure be familiar with. That's Jumoke. I guess Jumoke is from Oyo State. I think she's from Oyo State. I mean, that's commerce there. So we're talking about economic inclusion. We need to find a way to get people engaged. And studies have shown that in the time we are in now, it's not all about money and all that. When you have ideas, you have things you want to do, you get the right finance, you can come into the system. And talking about financial inclusion, many people are not part of all these things we're talking about. We run the BVN system. As the last count, we have 33 million BVNs registered. The number is growing by about 200,000 on a monthly basis. So in essence, we are saying the number of those that have bank accounts in Nigeria, including those that have accounts in microfinance banks, all put together, just 33 million. They own about, we have about 85 million bank accounts, customer accounts. So 85 million, 33 million BVN holders. It will amaze you to know that of that 33 million, last year, 2017, we cleared instant payments that we all do these days. We did close to 400 million instant payment transactions. 9.7 million Nigerians were responsible for all the 400 million transactions. And we're talking of youth population or other population by 100 million. So when we talk about exclusion or people being excluded, you then understand what we're talking about. Only close to 10 million people were responsible for all the transfers. We do an average of 25 million POS transactions because in Nigeria, POS terminal you see all over the country point to servers in my office. But 25 million we do monthly. It will amaze you to see that the first quarter of this year, only 3 million people were responsible for these close to 75 million POS transactions that were processed throughout the country. So when we talk about financial exclusion, you then understand what we're talking about. It's a big problem. We have many people out there who are not part of all of this. And no wonder why we have this high level of insecurity, grumbling over the place. Even at the time I pity our government, the expectation is so high, very, very high, because we have these fundamental problems that we don't need to find a way to resolve. Now, talking about financial inclusion, we want to define it properly. I work with the Financial Inclusion Thematic Group of the NESG, and there we try to give some definitions to some of these terms. We leverage a lot on the FINA report, that we use to stratify what we talk about financial inclusion. We look at the financially included people, and they are in different categories. We look at the financially excluded. When you are financially included, even that is in categories. Many of us are underbanked. And what do we mean by that? In financial inclusion studies, look at the 8 different transactions we have there. A fully banked person must be involved in these 8. I have a bank account or a wallet. I'm able to do e-payment, do funds transfer, pay with POS and all that. I have access to credit facilities. When I need to live my life, I want to run a business, I can collect loan very easily and do it. Not, in the past, for a long time, it's still there. we used to, the tradition in the past is like when you collect a loan, that is very wrong. If you just relate with banks, you just keep your money there, you just do withdrawal and saving and all that, you are underbanked. You are not fully banked. To be fully banked, you need to really be sure that you're able to use all the facilities available to live your life to the fullest, to achieve your full potential, which could be that you need to go and borrow money in the bank or wherever to do some things that will yield returns for you so that you can pay the loan, pay the principal, pay the interest, and still have some things for yourself. To be financially included, you must be part of it, the insurance system. Not just third-party insurance or those we do just to get the police off our back. You must be able to insure your assets that are very key to you. You must be able to plan for your future, have a pension account. When you have all these 8, we say you are financially included and you are fully banked. If you are lacking in any of these 8, we say you have a bank account. We say you are financially included, but you are underbanked. So when we talk about inclusion, it affects many of us, even speaking in this room. Now, talking about the financially excluded now, they are in different categories too. There are those that do insurance. You can have insurance. If you have a car in this country, you must have insurance because you don't want police to harass you if you don't have a bank account. So those are the other categories of being financially excluded. But the DFS agenda, when we talk about financial inclusion, digital financial services, the whole idea is that everybody should have access to all these systems we're talking about so that we can all live our lives to the fullest. And life is good, the economy is growing, benefits for everyone. The report you're seeing there, the chart there is the report of FINA. The last report looks at Nigeria. Look at Nigeria as 2016. And it says 41.6% of adult Nigerians are financially excluded. 41.6. The central bank and the banking industry have a target to drop that to 20%. Yeah, thank you. To 20% by year 2020. 2020, when we talk of 2020, it looks so far away. It's probably just two years thereabout from here. So we have a lot of job to do, really. And okay, that's the BVN I was talking about. Looking at the FINA report, they went ahead to do a survey to find out how come 41.6 million people are not part of the financial system. They don't have mobile wallet, they don't have bank accounts. And people gave about 5 different reasons, just 5 different respondents gave about 5 reasons why they are not part of all of this. And as I speak, a lot of effort is going on to make sure that we tackle these 5. The first one, about almost 35% of the respondents said, sorry, I don't have a job. I don't have an employment. In fact, I don't have money. So I don't need a bank account. I don't need to keep a bank account. Another set of people said, well, there are no bank branches close to where I live. They are all so far away. I don't have access. In Nigeria, we have about 5,500 bank branches all over the country. 5,500 to a population of about 200 million of us, too small. Some complain that, bank charges are too high. I don't want to pay bank charges. That's why I keep my cash in my house. Some said, to use the banking facilities is even too difficult. Very difficult. I have to walk to a bank branch, queue up to collect my own money that they are keeping for me. It's too much troublesome. The last category of people said, okay, I don't know how to read and write. I'm an illiterate. And if you look at each of these, a lot is going on now to address them. Those that said, they don't have a job. If you look around you now, there are so many schemes now running, some by banks, some by non-banks, licensed by the central bank. And there are some informal ones not licensed, where people can go and collect loans. I don't know how many have heard about Quick Cash. You can go look at the website, Quick Cash. If on they have *561# hash, *561# hash on your Glow line, you can get a loan between 5,000 to 200,000 within a minute. *561#. And on Airtel and Glow, it's *554 *561#. And it's working. I've seen people collecting these loans. And what they do here, they look at the people running this Quick Cash have access to your telephone. Thank God for big data. How you use your phone. Maybe you only top up with 200 naira every now and then. Maybe most part of the time you don't have any time on your phone. If you do *561#, you probably will say, you can only borrow 10,000 naira. But you have a postpaid line, or when you top up, you're topping up with 1,000 naira or 2,000 naira, or it's assumed that, okay, you are a bit financially okay, they can borrow up to 50,000 or 100,000 naira. So that is attacking the issue of, oh, I don't have money. If you have ideas, you are an artisan, you want to do anything, there are many, many schemes running around now. Sterling Bank launched Spectra a while ago, where people can go and borrow money very, very easily. Wema Bank is doing Alert, where people can borrow money very easily. You can, and in fact, things like Alert are now resolving the issue of convenience, meaning that I don't need to go to a bank branch to actually open an account on my mobile phone, open a bank account, I can do my transfers, I can even have my card, my debit card shipped to my house or my office, and I begin to live my life. So that talks about the accessibility. On the fee, when people say bank charges are very high, I tell people, go and compare Nigeria with the rest of with other countries. Our fees are among the lowest. This time, 2 years ago, you pay 100 naira to do a funds transfer. Today, it is 50 naira, and we're working with CBN to bring that down further and further and further. And talking about blockchain, the question of inclusion, our traditional banking and the way we live lives has not solved it. Despite all the banks have been there for centuries, but thank God we're having fintechs coming around now. These are IT companies. I was happy listening to some of our guys talking earlier today about, all the smart things they're doing right now. Today is their world. In fact, at times I envy the guys who are just leaving the school now. Salisu. At times I do wish that, I wish this were available when we were leaving school in those days, when you had ideas, you didn't know what to do, and they just died. So fintechs are helping now to solve these problems. The quick cash I've mentioned, all this one I've talked about, Diamond Bank launched ADA, UBA launched Leo, using artificial intelligence, robotics, and all that. Fintech guys are helping us to use all these new technologies to make life easier for everyone and make this service available so that the excluded can come in very, very, very easily. And they use blockchain. In my office, we are doing a POC currently, working with about 7 banks, trying to use the blockchain technology. And I'm sure we're all IT people. With the main technology is the DLT, distributed ledger technology, and blockchain is just an aspect, just an implementation of it. And cryptocurrencies are just the way you can use blockchain technology to do some currency matters. But then blockchain can be used to do many other things. For instance, we discover over time that, if you have a BVN, your address is attached to it. The rule allows you to change your address. If you change address, you can go to your bank and say, oh, I've moved address. This is my new address. We just observe that on the database, we only keep track of your current address. We lose track of the history of your past addresses. And we've had cases where people your bank needs to refer to your past addresses. So we call about 7 banks together. That POC is running right now.